So we were discussing the concept of basis. So basis is the difference between futures and spot. The basic arises because there is uncertainty when the hedge is closed. Whenever you are not taking delivery in the same, so delivery of the contract doesn't happen. That's the reason of error called as basis. So we saw this thing, we did the whole exercise with airlines company. So whenever you're doing a long hedge for purchasing of an asset, for example, in our case it was oil, F1 is the future price when you start, F2 is the future price when the time the future contract is closed, S2 is the asset priced when you purchase, B2 is the basis at the time of purchase. So what does this mean is the net amount that you will pay is the price of that asset when the contract is closed. For our example, when in December month the contract closed for the airlines, whatever the price was, minus whatever the future price was when the contract closed, minus in brackets like the future price when the contract opened. So whatever profit on the future or loss on the future you made, it would be subtracted from the cost you pay. So it will be F1 plus B2. This B2 is future price then and future price now. That is the basis error. That is the concept of risk of basis. This arises because you are not taking delivery. So just to make the point more clear, in our case, the amount that you pay, we calculated it, the amount that you pay was $44, that is spot price in December when the contract closed. Then this is basis. How is this basis calculated? Future price in December minus future price in September when you started the contract, and this is the final amount that you paid. So you have to remember, like, amount you paid would always be adjusted by profit or loss you make on the future contract. And why does this arise? Because you are not going to take delivery. Okay. So let's discuss short contract now. It is similar. It is amount you receive is S2, the spot price then, plus difference in future, profit and loss on future. So let's discuss. I'm Suncor. The risk that I face is price going down, price of oil falling. And Suncor actually does this. Suncor has a huge hedge position on oil and gas. That's why when the oil and gas tanked here, Suncor didn't face much issues, right? So Suncor has a risk of price of oil falling. So how does it hedge this risk? So hedge is done using futures by going short on oil. So it is going to go short on oil prices. Okay. Now once again, basis would arise when the months do not match. Let's say Suncor is going to produce some oil in December, which is going to sell it. So it has to sell some oil in December. Okay. And to hedge this risk, it's going to go short on oil contracts. But it is looking at future markets. There is no December contract available. So there are contracts for the month of September, which is the current month. Then there are contracts for October, and there is a contract for Jan and Feb. So what would Suncor do? It would take the next best contract from its selling date. So it is going to sell something in December. The closest contract to that after the fact, not the previous one, because it already closes in October. The closest contract after December is Jan. So what is it going to do? It is going to sell some oil in the month of December, and it is going to short oil futures for Jan, while taking a condition that it will close it in December and sell oil. So it does two things. It shorts oil and gas contract, means oil contracts, crude oil contracts for the month of Jan, because December was not there, and it is going to close contract in December when it sells oil. Now, because the contracts are not of the same month, there will be a risk of basis. So let's put some numbers in. So let's say September crude price. So spot price in September for crude was 40 bucks. Future price in September was 38. Now it's going to sell some oil in December. So when it sells that oil, the spot price in December was 36 bucks, and the future price in the month of December was 33. Okay, so spot has gone down, oil has also gone down. So what will Suncor do? Suncor is going to sell oil. So the amount it receives will be, it is going to sell oil in the month of December for whatever it is trading at December price. So that is $36 spot price of December. And it is also going to make some money from the short contract. Why it's going to make some money from the short contract? Because oil prices have actually gone down. So how much does it make? So it makes 38 minus 33. So contract went from 38 to 33. So you make money when you short it. So you made 5 bucks. So how much it actually received? It actually received 36 for 5. Okay. So both perspectives, when you go short and when you go long, if the contracts do not end in the same month, there is a concept of basis. So if you're going short, how could you write the formula? So if you're going long, first long, how would you write the formula? Amount you pay equals spot price in the month of expiry. So let's say spot expiry minus future price on expiry minus future price on initiation. Okay. So amount you pay if you go long is spot price on expiry minus future price on expiry minus future price on initiation. Now if you go short, it becomes amount you get or receive equals spot price on expiry, now in this case plus future price on initiation minus future price on expiry. So these two formulas, and what you do when you go long, when you go short, amount you pay, amount you receive, and these formulas are important for your exams. So we were discussing short. So short is always spot price that on expiry plus future price when you initiated it minus future price you closed it at. That is F1 plus basis, and previous was f1 plus basis again. Okay, so choice of a delivery month that is close as possible to but later than the end of life of the hedge is generally chosen. When there is no future contract on the asset being hedged, then sometimes you have to do contracts on future that is most correlated with your asset. So in that case, there is a concept of hedge ratio. So I'll explain it once again. So you are WestJet, a Calgary based airlines, and so you're an airlines company. Again, your risk is price of oil going up. So how do you hedge this risk? You go long in futures. But your risk is price of which oil? So it is jet oil. But there is no jet oil traded in futures market. There is crude oil that trades in future market. So what do you have to find? You have to find what is the correlation between jet oil and crude oil. So how do you do that? So how to do that? You find something called as a hedge ratio. What is hedge ratio? How much, if you want to cover your risk for one jet oil unit, so let's say both are barrels. So if you want to cover your risk for one barrel, how much barrel of crude oil you need to go long in this case of airlines, or go short in the case of oil and gas manufacturer. So hedge ratio is how these two relate. Because you cannot trade in contracts of jet oil, you're going to use crude. How much crude contracts do you use to cover your risk? So that is given by hedge ratio. How is it calculated? It is calculated as correlation between jet and crude oil multiplied by standard deviation of spot asset, so that is jet, divided by standard deviation of futures on crude. Or if you want to relate it in textbooks terms, it is correlation into standard deviation spot divided by standard deviation futures. This will give you hedge ratio. So just for understanding sake, what happens if your hedge ratio comes out to be 2? What does that mean? So it means you have to go long or go short on 2 crude contracts. You have to go long or go short on 2 crude contracts so that you hedge 1 barrel of jet oil. So you have to buy or sell, that is you have to go long or short on 2 barrels of crude to hedge your risk of 1 jet barrel. If it comes to 3, it means you have to go long or short on 3 barrels to hedge 1 barrel of jet. So hedge ratio is important. When do you use hedge ratios? When you cannot trade in the same asset. So if you're an airlines company and you're not able to trade on jet oil, then you use crude, but you use hedge ratio. Similarly, if you're making steel, but you cannot trade on steel, but you can trade on iron and aluminium, then you use hedge ratios again. Okay. Formula: correlation between spot and future into standard deviation of spot divided by standard deviation of future. So let's go back to slides. So portion of exposure that should optimally be hedged is called as hedge star or hedge ratio, given by correlation between spot standard deviation divided by correlation between future standard deviation. So they have given an example. So an airlines will purchase 2 million gallons of jet fuel in 1 month and hedge using, let's say, crude oil, heating oil futures. So from historical data, they have found out that standard deviation of futures is 0.0313, so 3%. Standard deviation of spot is 2%, and correlation between them is 92%. So hedge ratio is 92 into standard deviation of spot, so 0.263 divided by 0.0313, that is 0.78. Okay, so if you are hedging out 2 million barrels or 2 million barrels of jet oil, then and one future contract is 42,000 oil, then you have to buy 37 contracts to hedge it. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's take Suncor. So Suncor is producing, let's say, hydrogen fuel. It's considering that because oil and gas has very negative vibe right now, so they are trying to get into hydrogen fuel cells. So it's going to produce it. So to avoid it, it wants to short hydrogen. But there is no hydrogen traded in the market. So how would it reduce its risk? So it will try to find correlation between hydrogen and, let's say, crude. Okay. So how to do that? Again, correlation between crude and hydrogen into standard deviation of hydrogen divided by standard deviation of crude. That's how you find the hedge ratio between hydrogen and crude. But let's say its hedge ratio, you know, hedge ratio is very low, it's 0.5. okay, they are not extremely related, but they are somewhat related. So how would you reduce your risk? You are going to produce, let's say, 1 million barrels. Okay, and one crude contract is 40,000 barrels. So how much contracts of crude you have to sell so that you have a perfect hedge? So how to do that? So the formula is hedge ratio into amount of spot position divided by amount or size of future contract. So it equals 0.5 into how much do you want to hedge? 1 million barrels. And what is the contract size of crude? It is 40,000 barrels. So how much contracts you have to short? So you have to short almost 13 contracts. So let's round it up to 13 of crude to hedge your exposure to hydrogen. Okay, this is what that calculation meant. So futures are daily settled, so you cannot just have standard deviation, you need to have daily standard deviation. So you can also write this hedge ratio as hedge ratio equals correlation between daily changes in spot and future divided by into standard deviation of daily change in spot divided by standard deviation of daily change in future. Nothing changes, the formula is same. Instead of using average spot, you are using daily changes because futures are settled daily. So in exam, don't have to worry, you have to just remember this formula. Okay, and how many contracts to buy and sell, we did it. hedge ratio multiplied by how much position you want to hedge divided by contract size of future, or hedge ratio into size of position divided by contract size of future, both ways. Okay. Now what happens when you are hedging, let's say, equity positions? So I have mostly tech stocks in my portfolio, right? Now tech stocks are having more, like they rise and fall, they have more risk, so their deviations are more, so they have more risk and more movements than the market. So movements of stocks or movement of a portfolio versus index is calculated using a Greek letter called as beta. Now you can pronounce it in the English way called as beta or beta, but actually the Greek pronunciation is beta. So B is not B but V. Okay, so I go with the Greek pronunciation. So tech position or tech, like if I'm having a tech portfolio, so the relation between my portfolio and the index is given by beta. So let's say the beta of my position of my portfolio is 1.5. What does that mean? My portfolio goes 1.5 times higher when the market goes up, and portfolio goes 1.5 times lower when the market goes down. So it is 1.5 times faster than the market. So in that case, how do I hedge my position? So I have assets, right? So whenever you have assets, we have discussed it in the last class, when you have assets and you have to hedge, if you're a portfolio manager and you are concerned about assets going down, you hedge it by going short. Now how much contract should I short of an index? Now formula for that is beta into standard deviation of portfolio, so or also current value of portfolio, because beta already has standard deviation, divided by current value of futures. This will give you number of contracts to hedge. What is hedge? Hedge means you turn this beta to 0. So if the market goes up, you make money on your portfolio, but you lose money on the future contract. If market goes down, you lose money on your portfolio, but you make money on future contract. So effectively, for a short period of time, you're making your beta 0. You're stagnating your portfolio. Now, sometimes what happens is, I don't want to make my portfolio beta 0. I want to change it. I want to either slow down my portfolio or increase my portfolio. So, let's say I want to target my portfolio beta to be 0.5. So instead of having my beta 1.5, I want to slow my portfolio down. So it will fall, of course, when the market falls, but it will fall slower than the market. So I want to slow down my portfolio. I want to slow down the growth as well as the fall. So I want to slow down my beta. How do I do that? So in that case, the formula is, so you want to decrease beta. So decrease of beta is always short. Increase of beta is long. Okay. So how many contracts to short? So the formula is target beta minus current beta into same upper thing, current value of portfolio divided by current value of futures. Okay, and when you go long, the formula remains same, except you have to remember when you want to, let's say, increase the speed of your portfolio. How do you do it? You increase your beta to 2 or 3, whatever. So you go long on contracts. So this is important to hedge your portfolio, that is reduce your beta to 0, right? How to find it out? Number of contracts to short will be beta into current value of the portfolio divided by current value of futures. If you want to increase the speed, you go short, but how to find number of contracts to short? Target beta minus current beta into current value of portfolio divided by current value of futures. Increase of beta, target beta minus current beta into current value of portfolio divided by current value of futures. So this is when you are an portfolio manager. So instead of using hedge ratio, we use beta. In the last questions, we used hedge ratio, but instead of using hedge ratio, we use beta. So future price of SAP 500 is 1000, size of portfolio is 5 million, beta of portfolio is 1.5, contract size is 250 times the index. What is the position necessary to hedge this portfolio? And they have given few examples, like how much position is necessary to reduce the beta to 0.75, how much position is necessary to increase the beta to 2. So let's do all three. So let's go to Excel. So SAP 500 is at 1000. Your portfolio size is 5 mil. Beta of portfolio 1.5 and contract size is 250. Now how to do it? How many futures to buy? So number of futures to completely hedge, they would equal 1.5 into size of your portfolio, so 5 million, divided by size of contract. Size of contract is 1000 is SAP into 250. So you have to short, complete hedges, going short. You're a portfolio manager, so to completely hedge your risk, you will go short. How many contracts to short? Exactly 30 contracts, so that your portfolio beta becomes 0. Okay, you're completely hedged. Stand still on your portfolio. No loss, no profit. Right? If you want to, next question was, if you want to decrease your beta to 0.75. Your beta is currently 1.5. If you want to decrease it to 0.75. So what do you do? Whenever you want to decrease, you short. Whenever you want to increase, you go long. So how many contracts to go short? So formula is 0.75 is your target beta minus 1.5 is your current beta into same thing like previous thing, 5 mil portfolio size divided by, in bracket, 250 was the multiplier, contract size was, means SAP was 1000, so 1000 into 250, that is the contract value of future. So it goes to 15 contracts. So if you short 15 contracts, your beta will reduce to 0.75. Now you want to increase your beta to 2. How do you do it? You go long. How do you go long? How many contracts to go long? So you want your target beta to be 2. I'm putting it in bracket, 2. Your current beta is 1.5. Into contract size is 5 million divided by size of future. So size of future was 250 times 1000. So it comes to 10 contracts. So if you go long 10 contracts on SAP 500, you can increase your portfolio beta to 2, or if you go short 15, you decrease it to 0.75. If you want to completely hedge it, 30. So this is important for exam. So we've done that. So why hedge equity returns? Maybe you want to be out of market for a while. The market is falling. I don't want to take a risk. So you want to hedge your portfolio for the time being. Hedging avoids cost of selling and repurchasing the portfolio. So your portfolio is standstill for next few months if you hedge it. Suppose stock in your portfolio have average beta of 1, but you feel they may have chosen well and will outperform the market in both good and bad times. Hedging ensures that return you earn is risk-free return plus excess return on the portfolio market. So what happens is, if you're a very good stock selector, so you may outperform the market, but you want to reduce the risk of outperformance of the market. So let's say you know that your stock is let's say you're invested in Apple. So you know when the market falls, Apple is not going to fall as much as the market. But when the market starts going up, Apple is going to outperform all other stocks. So what you could do is invest in Apple and hedge out the market risk by going short on SAP 500. So your returns will be risk-free returns plus the returns that you are getting in excess of market because you are invested in Apple. Now sometimes what happens is you're trading in future contracts, but you have very long delivery cycles. So let's say I'm an aircraft company, so I want to purchase oil for, let's say, next 2 years. Now futures are not available for the next 2 years. So what do? You roll over your futures. You close the current month contract when the contract is near ending, and you buy the next month contract, right? Or if you're long, or you short the next month contract and you close the current month contract if you're short. So rolling over is closing the current month and getting a position in next month, long or short. We can roll future contracts forward to hedge current exposures. Initially, we enter into future contracts to hedge exposure after the time horizon. Before the maturity, we close them and replace them with the new contract to reflect new exposure. Now also, whenever you are hedging, in any hedging situation, there is a danger that losses will be realized on the hedge while the gains on the underlying exposure are unrealized. So sometimes what happens is, the asset that you hold you may not be able to sell it that fast, but you are suffering huge losses in your future positions. So in that case, it can create liquidity problems. For example, Suncor produces oil, but it may not be able to produce oil so fast to cover its future losses. So in that case, it can create liquidity problem. One example they have given in the book, which hold long-term fixed contracts on heating oil and gasoline and had to hedge it using rolling contracts on futures, stack and roll, the price of oil fell, and the price that it was going to get from customers it couldn't realize, so it had to